a lot of people out there craving answers. They want to know, how did you become successful, Chris Crone? Because he is successful. Like, and you know, I make fun of these gurus, and a lot of people who don't like them just crap on them 100%. They're like, oh, Grant Cardone, he's a total idiot. Cody Sanchez, there's no, you know, redeeming quality about her. I look at them and I'm like, Grant Cardone's an amazing marketer.
Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome to Construct Your Life. What you're going to be seeing with me in the new year is I'm going to be doing some solo episodes. I'm going to bring some people on. We're going to talk about different topics. And I've given you a lot of overview in 600 plus episodes, but sometimes I don't get tactical enough. So we're going to talk about marketing, branding, different aspects. We're going to be having fun. We're going to talk about different stuff. I might bring on somebody that's worth like $300 million, and we might talk about golf the whole time. I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. But that's what it's about. It's about getting excited. So I'm going to let Nicholas pick the topic. So what are we going to talk today about?
Guys, something I've been obsessed about for a long time, but I'm getting more and more obsessed with it. Gurus and the importance of community. I'm fascinated by these two things right now. So you've seen some of my posts, and I know you and I share a lot of things back and forth on Twitter. Sorry, my camera fell down.
He's losing his mind right now, guys. Give it a minute.
But here, I'm trying to figure this out. You know what a guru is, right? They are these people who have all the answers to everything. They've done it all. They've seen it all. And you can too. And they spout off this advice that just makes zero sense. And it's always fascinating me that people listen to them. So a perfect example is this Chris Crone, who I'm obsessed with right now. He says, he has this video where he's talking to Tai Lopez. Tai Lopez was like the OG guru. If you've ever seen the videos on YouTube of him where he's like, knowledge, and it's a selfie, and it's like his Ferrari in the background and books all lining the wall, talking about how he made so much money because he reads so much. Anyways, so he's talking to Tai Lopez, and Tai Lopez is like, so what's your goal? And he's like, I want to own 10,000 companies. And Tai Lopez like looks at him like, you're ridiculous. Do you mean real estate, right? And he's like, no. My own companies. Yeah, I'm deep into private equity, and like my private equity is picking up one company a week right now. And like it pans over to Tai Lopez, and Tai Lopez's face is like, you're an idiot. Like if Tai Lopez is a scammer, looks at you like you're an idiot, I mean, something's wrong, right? So at the same time, though, people listen to Chris Crone and they're like, this guy knows what he's talking about. I'm going to give him money. And it's fascinating to me because if you spend any time looking at it and you critically think about it, you're like, 1,000, you want to own 10,000 companies?
Well,
why?
For reference point, my favorite podcast is Invest Like the Best. They had a guy on today. They manage $7 billion. He's done 589 transactions in 10 years. They think that he's done the most transactions of anybody. Nothing over 12 million, small transactions. So if he's at 589, how is this homeboy going to get to 10,000?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The other piece of it is like, why is 10,000 the goal?
Because because it's a nice, ridiculous number. And look, does Chris Crone have, we're using him as a thing, but does Chris Crone have some legitimacy? Yes, he bought real estate and he's done it well. I have no problem with that. But my concern is that it's becoming these ridiculous words and sayings are getting thrown out. And the reason why this is interesting, and I'm not going to name names because it's not worth it, and I'm sifting through the info to see how I feel about it because I followed this guy for a while. But the long and short of it is this guy that I followed for a while had a company. He said multiple companies. Had a company. They got in trouble for false claims from the FTC, and they had to pay $16 million. They said they couldn't pay it, so they only paid like $1 million. But that just happened in the last week, and it's somebody that I really respect, who his clients have got results, but they got slapped on the wrist because they said, all you have to do is spend the money with us, and you're going to be rich. And you can't say stuff like that.
No. Well, I think it highlights a deeper thing that I'm becoming obsessed with is there are a lot of people out there craving answers. They want to know, how did you become successful, Chris Crone? Because he is successful. Like, and I make fun of these gurus, and a lot of people who don't like them just crap on them 100%. They're like, oh, Grant Cardone, he's a total idiot. Cody Sanchez, there's no, redeeming quality about her. I look at them and I'm like, Grant Cardone's an amazing marketer. He's raised so much money. And up until this point, at least, I mean, he could be a Ponzi scheme. He's been successful. Do I like the guy? Do I like what he says? No. Like, I think it's dumb the way he's like highlighting his jet every chance that he gets, whatever. But I'm not going to take away from him the fact that he's a brilliant marketer. Cody Sanchez, same thing with her. I don't understand why people hate her so much. She's just going out and explaining businesses, and yeah, she's selling her course. Like, newsflash, she's trying to make money off of her media. Like, I get it. But I think there's a lot of people out there who are genuinely trying to find the answers. How do I find a business? How do I grow? How do I invest in real estate? Oh, Grant Cardone has the piece. And so they pay them the money in order to understand it. So like there's this whole community of people who are searching for answers. And the only people who are willing to give those answers in a product that makes sense for these people are these gurus, right? Because people like you and I tend to feel like, oh, I don't want to be a guru. I don't want to give that information away. I don't want to package it in a system to make money off of it. So where do they go? They go to the gurus. So I think there's like this gap of legitimacy in the market for people who are looking for actual information that is not being met. And I see it partially being met on Twitter, where it's like you meet people and you start exchanging ideas, but that like structured course, it's been demonized. And again, I understand because they don't like these gurus, but there's a huge place for people who want to, they want to pay money to be educated. And the only people offering it are Cody Sanchez and Grant Cardone. You know what I mean? So like, why are we doing that? Why haven't we catered to these people yet? I don't know. Am I rambling? What do you think?
No. Because look, Grant Cardone said one of the smartest things I've ever heard him say, and I agree with you 100%. Dude, I'm good. I don't need to follow him, but I respect it. But he said something when he first started 10X Conference, and he said, you think that you're paying for the people that are on stage for the information. Sorry, no. You're paying to be somebody like worthy enough to invest in themselves, to sit down next to somebody in the audience that is going to become a friend, a business partner. That's what this thing is. The mastermind, I've been a part of 1 million of them. I'm not paying. I was a part of Ed Milet's and Andy Frisella. I got no problem. They're amazing. They have great things. But it was the people I met in there that are my friends still. There's the people I met in there that I still like. That's what people are craving. It's community. That's what a social platform is. And so when they're buying a course for information, they can say, oh, perfect example. I'll give you a different example, but all the same. There are things that you do in your life that tell people who you are. Okay? Let me unpack this for you. There is not one person on this planet, if they've heard of it, that knows that I've done 75 hard like 5 times, and the first time I did it 150 days in a row, which is only 75 days, that doesn't know who I am as a person. They know within 5 minutes, oh, that guy did it in the rain and the snow, and he was disciplined enough to go 75 days. That tells me everything I need to know about a character. We have gotten away from that because, okay, another example from back in my restaurant businesses. You may or may not know this, but the test to pass to be a waiter at Cheesecake Factory is 300 questions, all visual, no notes. You have to literally look at the dish and write it out and say what's everything in it. 300 questions. It was harder than master's algebra, but wait for it.
Well, dude, their menu is this thick.
I know. And I'll tell you a funny joke in a minute about what I used to do to customers. It's so funny because this is another human behavior thing. Do you know, this is a true story. That was my 3rd job ever. Did you know that for the next 15 years, I never had to worry about a job. I got the job right away. Because every restaurant manager said, if you made it through Cheesecake Factory training and you worked there for that long, then you're trained up enough, we're good. Boom. So there are things that you do that signal to other people that you know what you're talking about. Here's a funny trick. This, not to get off topic. The menu's so big, people are obsessed with, they can't do the thing without seeing the thing. We become a society of, I can't articulate what I need from you unless I see it and point at it too, right? We become that society. So what I used to do is I used to walk up and I used to hold my hand on their menu so they couldn't turn back to find the dish they wanted, and they would have to order from me without being able to see it, and it used to just rip their brain apart in half. I'd be like, what do you want? And I'd have my hand on the menu, and I'd be like, no, let me show you. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, what did you want? Well, I mean, it was... And they would just go on for like 5 minutes. It was so comical.
Oh my gosh.
It was so comical. But I agree with you, right? Okay, perfect example. Another example. These are things that people don't know about. See, here I am telling you all these secrets. This is a true story. We worked at the busiest restaurant in Austin, Texas. This was when Austin, Texas was blowing up. I worked at a place called Perlis. Like, I literally bought 3 pieces of real estate because of this job. I was making so much money working 4 days a week. The servers were driving Audis. I was rolling in it, dude. It was ridiculous. But next to us opened a Hop Daddy's, okay? And a Hop Daddy's had a line out the door every day, whether it was lunch or dinner. And I finally went to the manager after a couple months, and I said, hey, man, dude, are y'all just not, like, efficient? Like, why do you always have a line? He goes, no, that's on purpose. He goes, we slow down orders so there is a line. So people get so excited they join the line and then eat our burger. That is a definition of community right there, supply and demand.
Yeah. Well, and I've become obsessed with it over the last 2 months in particular, as I'm looking at Twitter, and I do a lot of reading, but in the past, there's these big social platforms, social networks, Facebook, Twitter, I mean, Instagram, although that's part of Facebook now, that has everything on it, right? You could find commercial real estate to, people who have communities where they're looking at the Beanie Babies that they collected in 1992, right? Like, it's just everybody and their mom are on these things. And especially on Twitter, I've noticed there's a craving for community. Like, there are these people on there, they want to connect. And what do? They reach out in DMs. And it's awesome. And it facilitates really good conversations. But I still think there's this like structured opportunity to provide to people, either for education, meeting on a weekly basis. I mean, you talked about going through your personal finances, or you talked about being on the hot seat.
So here's the problem. I've already played this game multiple times over the years, and I could give you all the tips.
Please,
The problem is that a community facilitates off of energy. And if you're the one driving the energy 24/7, it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
So you have to have a community director who's asking questions and always going, because there has to be somebody. I'll tell you a funny story. You of all people will love this story more than life itself. This guy, I won't give his names. He's like one of the top gurus ever. He doesn't have a Facebook. He has one Facebook page, nothing else. He's like the top of the top when it comes to sales. I mean, he is the OG of OGs, okay? And the only reason I know him because his previous mentor told me the story. He is the man at copy and sales. Puts on events, crazy expensive, all this stuff. He ran a retreat for couples. 10 couples paid $8,000 a piece to come to a mountain house, okay? To come to a mountain house to talk about their business to get better. Wait for it. This is how much he talked in 48 hours. He talked for 7 minutes when they showed up, and he asked this question and never spoke again, and the people had the best weekend of their life. He said, who here as a group can we solve each other's business problems? And he never spoke again the rest of the week. And everybody said it was the best weekend of their life.
Yeah. $10,000 a pop. That's, dude, $80,000 for that weekend. That's incredible. Holy crap. Well, I mean, again, at the same time, he let the community help.
When you create a proper community that's answering each other's questions and supporting everybody with the proper energy, then you create something special. The problem is that it needs to be churned at all times.
So I haven't gotten as deep into it as you went into it, but yeah, I'm just looking from the outside. But there's a lot of people who are like, oh, take advantage of the silver tsunami. You can buy these businesses, which is true. But I also look at it from the perspective of there's a lot of people buying businesses because of the silver tsunami. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea how to do due diligence. They have no idea what cash flows means. They have no idea how to read P&L. They have no idea how to finance it. They have no idea how to build a team. Like they have no knowledge there. So yes, can you take advantage of the silver tsunami if you have those skills? Absolutely. But what if you want to take advantage of the silver tsunami and you don't know how to do all of those things? That's why I feel like there's a huge opportunity to service people.
Guys, let me take a minute to tell you about my buddies over at Lead Hub, Ben and Aaron, the best humans I know. Not only are they amazing at marketing for trade companies, but Ben started his HVAC company in his garage, sold it for multi-million dollars. So when this guy talks, I listen. When we took over Dietz Mechanical, we had 22 reviews in 22 years. In 7 short months, we went from 22 reviews to 107. We went from a 4.2 to a 4.7. We tripled our Facebook presence and we tripled our calls. If you're an HVAC, plumbing, electric, landscaping company, and you're looking for a no BS approach to marketing, you're looking for people who have done it before, you got to go to leadhub.net. One of the things that I'm fascinated with, and I would say that we'll get there eventually, is how many one-man shop searchers or investors that need an advisory board with HR, bookkeeping, sales, marketing, the playbook that could be supported where you take 20 to 15% of a roll-up or a business and you have an amazing operator, but he doesn't have a team like you, like I have, right? He doesn't have business partners. I've met like 30 of them. So I think there's something there as well too, is like an incubator, right? Kind of shared services kind of thing.
Yeah, that role's been traditionally played by private equity, right? You have a large private equity fund, they sponsor a searcher, the searcher finds the business, they then close on the business, et cetera, and then they do a lot of the back office functions. It's funny, now I'm telling this to you, I played this game. There's one of two problems. Problem number one is you don't want to, that's a generalization. Lots of times you don't want to have shared services because it takes the ownership away from the local level. Yes. And they start doing things, not that are inappropriate, but they just start managing their expenses less closely, right? And so you lose 1, 2, 3% of that margin. But the second potential issue is that you're doing shared services, but one of the companies is an HVAC company, another company is a healthcare company, another company is a Facebook marketing agency, and all of those function very differently, right? Maybe your AP with the HVAC company is net 30, but with Facebook marketing is, I don't know, 120 days, right? So it's like you got to learn all these different things, and so you lose out on the efficiencies if you weren't just rolling up the same types of companies in them. Those are the two things that people typically run into, but I'm in the same boat as you. I think there's a lot of people who call themselves searchers because it sounds sexy. They're just like anybody who's looking for a business to buy, but they have no idea all of those things that I just mentioned. How do they evaluate a business? How do they negotiate the business? How do they transition the business? That's like the freaking hardest thing. Like, in my opinion, finding and negotiating the business is easy. It's the transition. How do you know how much cash you should have on hand? How do you know which team members you should have? How do you read the room and decide, okay, this person is an influencer and this person doesn't do anything, or this person is the expert and this person is like, there's so many things that post-acquisition you need to be able to run, and they don't have the outlet to do that. Like, who are they going to go talk to? They can't talk to the people that they purchased the business from. Maybe they have some friends. They don't necessarily have a private equity fund backing them. And that's where I feel like the role of community comes into play, especially for this like SMB Twitter crowd, is like, when you get into that business, you're like, guys, I use ADP, but they suck as a payroll processor. Who do you use? Right? Oh, totally. Hey, guys, how much cash on hand do you have going into the holidays, and what do you do for bonuses? Right? Nobody talks to you about that type of stuff.
Nobody.
So that's where I look at like an opportunity for communities. I don't know what it looks like or how I would do it, but I would just love to figure something out there, because there's a lot of people who just don't have the skill set yet.
I love it. Guys, community and gurus. Didn't know that was on the bingo card today, but here we are.
You're welcome.
Share it with some friends. I had a good time. We'll see you next time.